Quack is a Windows C#.NET program to store and manipulate time series data. After you've installed Quack on your Windows computer, you click the Quack icon. The first time you use Quack, it will immediately connect to a demonstration Microsoft Azure database in the cloud. If you have an SQL Server database running locally or on your network, you change database by clicking this icon. I'm now connected to a local database on my own computer. There are all sorts of data I could enter into Quack, but suppose I have a factory of buildings and I want to monitor energy from the production building. For last week I've been reading the meter at 5 p.m. and writing the readings down in a notebook. These are the increasing readings as I took them each day. I've also noted down the differences between these numbers. This represents the daily consumption. First, I need to create the factory structure in Quack. I drag a container from the left margin onto the canvas and rename it factory. I drag a container into factory and rename this production. I drag a point into production and rename this electricity. The electricity point will contain the data. I check the electricity point and click the data workbook icon. This is where I will enter my readings. I configure the electricity point so each time I enter a new line, the data will be incremented by 1 day. If I click here, today's date is entered. I don't want that, I want the 1st of May. $1,700. I can now enter the readings. You will notice each time I enter a new line, the date gets incremented by 1 day. I save that by clicking this icon here, close that window, and look at that data in graph form. And there it is. Close that. I now want to create a calculated point that shows the daily difference between each reading I've entered. I drag a calculated point into production and rename it daily. To configure the calculation, I check the point and click the calculator icon. I now drag points into the calculation. What I'm saying is, for each daily time period, take the electricity reading and subtract the reading that is lagging in the time period before. I'll save that and close that. I go back to the data workbook so that I can run the calculations. Here are the original entries. If I click this button here, the calculations are performed, and you'll see that these numbers match the ones I jotted down earlier. I'll now close that window and have a look at it in graph form. And there it is. Calculations can be chained. Here are some I prepared earlier. Each calculation is based on an earlier calculation. I finally end up with the total daily gas and electricity energy cost here. That is the essence of Quack. There are many possible uses you could put it to save money or give insight to your operation. There's a lot more that Quack can do. You can arrange for Quack to show an alarm if data exceeds a threshold. You can arrange for data to be loaded automatically and calculations and alarms found automatically, so you don't need to manually enter the numbers. you can attach additional information to the containers and the points in the structure, and that can be used for other purposes.